Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you joined us for Story Station today. My name is Sandy, and we have a great book called Sheila Ray, The Brave. This is written by Kevin Henkes, and he has written so many wonderful stories. You are just going to love this one too. So let's get our eyes ready. Great big circles. Open them up wide so you can see all the beautiful illustrations. And now take those letter C's, put them behind your ears, and turn up the volume so you can hear all the funny things that happen in this story. I hope you're brave, just like Sheila Ray. And now get your fingers to your voice box and open it up so you can respond to all the things I'm going to ask you. Let's get ready by singing the parts of the book. The title's on the front, the title's on the front. Hi-ho, Biblio, the title's on the front. The author writes the words, the author writes the words. Hi-ho, Biblio, the author writes the words. The illustrator draws, the illustrator draws. Hi-ho, Biblio, the illustrator draws. The spine binds the book, the spine binds the book. Hi-ho, Biblio, the spine binds the book. And now it's time to read, and now it's time to read. Hi-ho, Biblio, and now it's time to read. Sheila Ray, the Brave. Have you ever heard of the word brave? Maybe doing something that's scary or something you've never tried before? Well, she's holding this great big banner, Sheila Ray the Brave. And look closely. Do you think this is a true story? Do you think it's nonfiction? You think a dress and a sweater are what mice wear? I've never seen one, so I think it's called fiction, a pretend story. And this mouse has a very long tail, long little toes. I've never seen a mouse hold a sign before, but she's standing up nice and tall with her eyes closed. Sheila Ray, I guess, is very brave. Can you think of something brave that you've done before? Have you maybe tried to ride a bike? Or tried to read? Or tried to make your bed? I know when I try and put the pillowcase on my pillow, it's really hard. And every time I do it, I get a little bit better. But it's a struggle every single time. But I just keep trying. So let's find out if Sheila Ray is brave all the time. This story is brought to us by HarperCollins Book and Green Willow Books of New York. And it's written again by Kevin Henkes. Sheila Ray the Brave. Oh, look at that cute little teddy bear there. The dedication page says for Gretchen. That's the person that Kevin Henkes wrote the story for. Sheila Ray wasn't afraid of anything. Oh my goodness, look at what she's kissing. Do you want to kiss a spider? I know I wouldn't. Look at her sister. Her sister's face is so surprised. She wasn't afraid of the dark, and she wasn't afraid of thunder and lightning. Ooh. And she wasn't afraid of the big black dog at the end of the block. Oh, look at her sister. I think she's hiding. She looks like she might be afraid. Can you tell who Sheila Ray is grabbing away from the big black dog? You guessed it, her sister's teddy bear. He wanted to take it, but she wasn't afraid at all. At dinner, Sheila Ray made believe that the cherries in her fruit cocktail were eyes of bears. Ew, would you want to eat eyes of bears? And then she ate 5 of them. But look at her sister. She doesn't like that game at all. At school, Sheila Ray giggled when the principal walked by. That's the person in charge of the whole school. I guess she wasn't afraid of him. Maybe she was always following the rules. And when her classmate Wendell stole her jump rope during recess, Sheila Ray tied him up until the bell rang. I am very brave, Sheila Ray said, patting herself on the back. Oh my goodness. Do you think that was a nice thing to do? I don't think so. But he stole her jump rope and she tied him up with it. Sheila Ray stepped on every crack in the sidewalk without fear. And when her sister Louise said, "There was a monster in my closet," Sheila Ray attacked it. Look at her. She's got her dad's shoes on, a baseball bat, a red cape, sunglasses, and a hat. Do you think there was really a monster in her closet? I don't think so. And she rode her bicycle no-handed, with her eyes closed. Yay! Yay! Sheila Ray, her friends yelled, clapping their hands. But look who has their eyes closed too. What do you think could happen riding without your hands on the handlebars? And her feet are not on the wheels or the pedals, and her eyes are closed. Oh, I'm afraid she might crash. One day at school, Sheila Ray decided to walk home a new way. Louise was afraid to. "You're too brave for me," Louise said. Look at her. Well, I don't think she wants to walk a new way home, but Sheila Ray does. "You're not always such a scaredy cat," Sheila Ray called. "Am not," whispered Louise. "I'm not a scaredy cat. Would you be afraid to find a new way back to your house?" Sheila Ray started off skipping. "I am brave," she sang. "I am fearless." Fear is how you feel inside when you're scared. But fearless means you don't have any fear at all. You're not scared. She stepped on every crack and she walked backwards with her eyes closed. Look at her sister Louise. She's just hanging close by. She doesn't look too happy. Walking backwards with your eyes closed. Ooh, I might be afraid I'd bump into something. She growled at stray dogs, and she bared her teeth at stray cats. And she pretended that the trees were evil creatures. She climbed up them and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. Oh, that poor tree, he's losing all his branches. I bet he was gonna grow some leaves on there. I don't know if that was a very nice thing to do, Sheila Ray. Sheila Ray walked and walked, and she turned corners and she crossed streets. And suddenly, it occurred to Sheila Ray that nothing looked familiar. Familiar means nothing looked like she had ever seen it before. Look at her face. Do you think she's still brave? Would you be brave if you walked and walked and walked and got to a place that looked new and different and you didn't know where you were? Sheila Ray heard frightening noises. They sounded worse than thunder. She thought horrible thoughts. They were worse than anything she had ever imagined. Look at her face. She's really scared. But you know what she said to herself? I am brave, Sheila Ray tried to convince herself. I am fearless. You think she's brave? Do you think it's okay to be scared sometimes? Or feel fearful? Especially if you're lost? The sounds became more frightening, and the thoughts became more horrible, and Sheila Ray sat down on a rock and cried. Help! She thought of her mother and her father and Louise. Mother, Father, Louise, she cried. Oh, she's feeling really sad. Is it okay to feel sad when you're scared? I do. But look who's up in the tree. Her sister, Louise. What do you think is going to happen? Here I am, a voice called. Look at Louise came jumping off that tree. And look at how excited Sheila Ray is to see her. Louise, Sheila Ray hugged her sister. We're lost, Sheila Ray said. No, we're not, said Louise. I know the way home. Follow me. Look at, they're hugging, kissing, and it looks like Sheila Ray might feel relieved. Louise stepped on every crack. And look who's following behind. Sheila Ray. She waited and she walked backwards with her eyes closed. But this time Sheila Ray kept her eyes open. She didn't feel so brave anymore, but her little sister Louise did. And she growled at the stray dog. Look at that little dog. He's purple with yellow pants. That's pretty funny. She bared her teeth at the stray cats. And look, Sheila Ray does not look as brave as she was, but this time, Louise is brave. Is it okay to let someone else be brave if you are fearful? And she pretended that the trees were evil creatures, and she jumped up and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. And Sheila Ray walked quietly behind her. Sheila Ray still was not feeling brave, but Louise was. They walked and they walked and they crossed streets, and look at, she's holding her hand, so she's careful when she's crossing the street and looking to make sure there are no cars. And they turned corners. Corners is when two parts of the walls meet together in a building. Soon their house could be seen between the trees, and Sheila Ray grabbed Louise and dashed up the street. Oh, who's heading first this time? Sheila Ray doesn't look fearful anymore. She still now looks brave and fearless. But look at poor Louise. She guided Sheila Ray the whole way home, but now that Sheila Ray sees her house, she feels brave. When they reached their own yard and the gate was closed behind them, Sheila Ray said, "Louise, you are brave and you are fearless." That means not afraid, fearless. "We both are," said Louise, and they walked backwards into the house with their eyes closed. Boy, at the beginning of the story, Sheila Ray was kind of bragging that she was so brave. But then when she got lost, she didn't feel so brave anymore. I am so glad that Louise knew the way home and that Sheila Ray let Louise be the brave one to guide her back. It's okay to feel brave sometimes, but if you do fear or feel fearful or afraid of something, ask for help, just like Louise helped Sheila Ray. I hope you enjoyed our story, and we'll see you next time on Story Station. Bye-bye.